This is a round 5 match in the lower bracket, tso15 versus krithel, game 1. There are 6 players left in this tournament, and these are 2 of them. We are getting towards the end of this tournament. So I'm Arborelia, I'll be commentating. I'm joined by Mr. Blair on tracking. And I guess I should summarize how this mode works. This is no logic, so the items are placed completely randomly without any regard to whether there's reasonable ways to get to them. And in exchange, our racers can use unreasonable ways to get places. They can use all kinds of major glitches that make almost every situation in the game surmountable. The major glitches that are not allowed are Underworld Exploration glitch, which trivializes the whole game, and it's the reason the speedrun takes 5 minutes, so you can't do that one. You can't access room data, out-of-bounds memory as room data. You can't do arbitrary code execution. You can't corrupt your save RAM. Pretty much everything else you can do. And so you get to see glitches upon glitches as runners improvise their way through the fascinating lack of logic. And our racers are getting started. Alright, both starting at Link's house. We got a small key to the Palace of Darkness. Small keys to Palace of Darkness are never needed in this mode. Our audio is going to be krithel using the FF9 music pack. So is hopping into the water here, and so is krithel. Krithel just went to check the island first. So yeah, you can just clip through that diagonal wall and hop right into the hobo screen. And then continue the route with a fake flipper. So this is the water route to start with, one of the popular starts. Ah yes, question about rods. Most bosses can be beaten in a variety of ways, but Trinex does require the Fire Rod and the Ice Rod to beat, and our racing requirements are that you have to beat all the bosses the crystals are on, even if you get the crystals in a different way. So, the other thing about this racing mode is that there are 2 Fire Rods and 2 Ice Rods in the pool, which greatly reduces the possibility of an unbeatable Trinex. So, the trivia, if you care about it, the worst case scenario is a book on Trinex that blocks 2 of the same rods on tablets. That would still be unbeatable, but it's very unlikely. Alright, krithel continuing in the east part of the world, so is going to the sanctuary. Something about routing that we often see is that our racers will put off going to Kakariko for a while, because for one thing, there are items you'd want to have to full clear Kakariko, like powder and a bottle, and also because you often want to continue on from Kakariko to desert, so you want to have some of your desert items. And there's all kinds of other places you can go in the world first, and they're all equally likely to have progress items. Speaking of progress items, krithel oh my god! That was Cane of Samaria, the Power Glove, and Bombos, all right next to each other. Also Turtle Rock's a green pendant, which could make this a jet seed. All those items in Sahashula's hut. Oh my god. And the Cane of Samaria is huge. That's the glitch cane. You can corrupt all kinds of screen transitions with it. And it's part of the setup of an easy setup for hook pushing. There are all kinds of things you can do with that cane. Speaking of hook pushing, there's the lamp. The lamp is also a hugely useful glitch item in addition to the fact that it means you can see where you're going. Krithel is just finding all these stacks of items. So Tso is hopping up this cliff here to ascend Death Mountain. It's just gotta hop right back in bounds there. Now we can check a couple of items in the Tower of Hera, though it's a little awkward with no weapons except for bombs. Speaking of bombs, trees are dispensing bombs, so that's very useful. So taking the Death Warp to save bombs. Alright, not a big payoff in those first two items of the Tower of Hera. Krithel's heading towards Death Mountain now, and he's getting up in a different way. This is the new Death Mountain ascent, even though it's like 4 years old now. You do that screen wrap, you hop over those cliffs, and this actually takes you can see it because of the lamp, it takes you into the cave where the old man is. Another pointless key for Tso. Hey, we've got an ice rod there. Turns out it doesn't matter, but it, you can still hit things with it. Alright, Krithel's done the Death Mountain descent. It's a very convenient place to head down the mountain. It takes you to the graveyard ledge, where you can restock on bombs and get an item. Krithel is heading back into the grave. Oh, because that's a Houlihan glitch. When you come from the top of the screen, the holes have the wrong destination, so they take you to the Houlihan room. So now he's stocked up on money and can head south again. So he's found his way out of the dark cave. And getting a timely health refill from the old man's heart piece. And there's the Death Mountain descent for Tso. We're seeing a Castle Tower key, which is useful enough, and a Turtle Rock small key, which is marginally useful. Didn't even notice the 3 Skullwood small keys. Krithel's gonna check the mini Moldorm hype. You can always get excited about this location having 5 items you can check at once, but in No Logic it's got 6 items if you're good. So there's a bomb juke you can do in this door, and Krithel's got 2 bombs to do it with. Does it first try, it looks like, to get on the wrong side of that transition and get to the King's Tomb chest. And indeed, it was a red boomerang. Good catch. Krithel just has this astonishing item advantage from having gone to Sahashula's closet. Alright, we've got our racers checking the locations that the other ones have been for a bit. Krithel also going to hover over to that ice rod just casually. And hover back. Just as casually. Well done. And he's going to climb over this mountain cliff to head to East Death Mountain. Tso's got one more bomb to try to set up the bomb juke to King's Tomb. And doing some pause buffering. And didn't work. Out of bombs now. Krithel's hopping up to the floating island where there's a map. Maps are useful knowledge. Now Krithel's got to fight his way through Spiral Cave and is losing that fight so far. So did the fake flipper to get to the Lake Hylia ferry and stock up on bomb capacity. Alright, that ice rod turned out to be important. And it got him the Moon Pearl! Spiral Cave pays off. Moon Pearl is a very nice-to-have item. So is also walking in the air over to East Death Mountain, sees the map. Krithel using his last bomb to open a shop where he can buy more bombs. So is also heading into Spiral Cave. Oh, those mold arms. Tiny shield isn't going to help against the aggressive mold orm. Both players taking deaths simultaneously on East Death Mountain. And both heading back to the mountain cave. But Krithel's not even going to finish checking Paradox Cave. He's heading to East Dark Death Mountain. Oh no, Tso hadn't even gotten the Moon Pearl yet. Oh, that's rough. And Krithel, having demonstrated that he can hover with no problem, is checking Hookshot Cave. Found our first big key. It's a big key of Swamp. Not the most momentous one. Alright, so is thankfully heading back to Spiral Cave. Oh. Krithel misses that last hover, but there's a shortcut. Try it again. It's the other cane. Krithel has a bottle. Bottles are very important glitch items. You can fill them with potions, and potions are glitch juice. Because there are multiple glitches that you can do by drinking a potion during a screen transition. One of them being the YBA, Yuzuhara's Bottle Adventure, which changes the destination of doors inside a dungeon. And Krithel is here in Turtle Rock to do the infinite dupe. Whatever item is in the lava chest, he can pull out of the big chest however many times he wants. How many fire rods would you like? Krithel would like 2 fire rods. But you have to reset the dungeon after you do that. And now we start asking impertinent questions like, what's it take for Krithel to get to go mode? I mean, some swords at least. Yep, that's how they work. That's the double rod. I am seeing a higher than usual chance of sword duping, especially in Krithel's situation, and I'm always rooting for sword duping. So has taken the first trip to Kakariko Village. Yeah, so there's various glitches that can allow you to collect the same item twice. That works really well with progressive swords, where you can collect the item and it's a fighter's sword, and then collect it again and it's the master sword. The most versatile setup for it is called a tree warp, which you do using the tree with a face in the Village of Outcasts. But there are other dupes for other locations also. Cane of Samaria is great for duping inside dungeons, as we just saw with Krithel pulling 2 fire rods out of the same chest. So finds a bow in Kakariko Well. And some armor. Krithel has used the Cane of Samaria to corrupt that screen transition and head directly to these 2 chests. Hey, it's a Titan's Mitt. Krithel has the option of going into Ice Palace the correct way-ish. Something you don't see very often in No Logic. Alright, do not adjust your vertical hold. This is just Krithel doing the skydive from Death Mountain all the way down to the bottom of the map. And so his screen wrapped into the Magic Bat Cave. So this has given Krithel convenient access to the South Dark World, where he can check places like Hype Cave. Bat has a map. Got another map in Hype Cave. And a flute. That's pretty hype. Flute's a pretty nice item to have in No Logic, because the flute takes you to the potion shop, and potions take you everywhere else. So is not heading directly to the desert area from here. I just missed which crystals are the red crystals, but I bet our tracker didn't. Full Heart in Cave 45. Pale of the Darkness and Thieves Town are red crystals. Krithel now also has better armor. Which he's going to upgrade to worse armor when he finally checks Kakariko. Because in No Logic, sometimes you really don't want to have red armor. Makes death warps and 0 HP glitches a lot less convenient. I'm hearing that So did some kind of setup in the checkerboard cave. Krithel has stopped by Misery Mire to check the medallion requirement, but I didn't see what it was. And So is the first one in Desert Palace. Regrettably, he doesn't have a bottle or a Cane of Samaria. But he does have the Desert Big Key. Krithel, even though he's got the Titan's Mitt, is heading up to the Village of Outcasts the glitchy way. And I'm very excited if we see a sword in here. One glitch that So can still do in Desert Palace is this quadrant glitch that he's going to do to get to the right side of Desert Palace without the key. You line up on a particular pixel and get hit by the BMOS across the center line of the room. This causes the right screen transition to be wrong. Letting him walk to the right side with the 2 chests. Invisible item? We get to see it anyway. It's the Compass of Ice Palace. Just a compass on the ledge. But now Krithel can head to Skull Woods armed with a fire rod. Alright, So is here in Spectacle Rock Cave. He's setting up the glitch called the Kiki Skip, which has, it's very far from the monkey's location, but it's called that because it's what you... Ooh, that's a sword. It's what you use in the glitched speedrun to get into the Palace of Darkness. And, this is the Palace of Darkness, but it's in cave state. The game still thinks that he's in a cave, so... he doesn't know that this is the Dungeon Palace of Darkness, even as he gets to explore it. Also, So will have 255 small keys to use in this state, and he has a cave state big key. The Thieves Town big key is one of the keys that can be used that way. Mom was informing us that that sword that So found is not dupable. And So just gets to almost hover over to the big chest. One tried hovering, and now he's just setting up the hammer jump. The bomb jump that gets you over there. Oh, look! Big key of Dark Palace in the big chest of Dark Palace. Where else would it be? We also got a big key of Ice Palace. Alright. That is all of the skull words we're going to see for now. Also notice that as So explores the Palace of Darkness, there's two swords in the Palace of Darkness. There's no enemies in here. And that's not because of cave state, that's because the particular clip that the Kiki skip happens to wrap around the underworld map, and that causes all of the enemies and crystal switches to not be there. Krithel finds a mirror in Thieves' Town. Great item to have. And very quick map check, we saw that Ice Palace was a crystal. I didn't catch the others. And Krithel's going to get on his duck and head to the potion shop. So has walked in and out the door, or out and in the door of the Palace of Darkness, to make the dungeon actually count as the Palace of Darkness now. He's going to be heading to the boss, using the statue drag to Helmasaur. So he drags the statue into the stairway. Now he's still got a statue drag stored up. Gets bonked by the anti-fairy back into the stairway so we can still have it stored up. Pushes the statue with his shoulder to avoid resetting the statue drag state. Fixes a screen transition, and now he needs to bomb juke into this door. Krithel is finally in Kakariko Village. And now he can drag that invisible statue out what used to be the front door of Palace of Darkness, but now the screen transitions are all corrupted. And he can green wrap all the way to the back of Helmasaur's room. Gonna be a bit of a tough Helmasaur fight. So he's on his last heart. At least he's got the bow to finish the job with. This is tense. This is okay, he's got the cape to survive with. Alright. Nicely done. So has defeated Helmasaur. And that's going to be our first crystal in this race. So Krithel doing the exploration of Kakariko, doing the screen wrap to the magic bat. Tso's got some things to finish up in the Palace of Darkness. This hover over to the right side. And I bet what we're going to see is a continuation of this route into Hookshot Cave, using an incorrect screen transition. Yep. Bombing open the door to the fairy room, which is where that transition is going to happen, but it doesn't happen the first time. You gotta bomb juke into that door first. Enemies are making it a little hard. Krithel's gonna hop over this cliff into Desert Palace. So Krithel's brought some glitch items to Desert Palace, so we're gonna see a little more added on to what Tso was able to do. Krithel doesn't have the big key. Speaking of big keys, I don't think that Krithel has a K-State big key. It was Tso who got the Palace of Darkness big key in Palace of Darkness, right? Krithel's done the quadrant glitch to get to the right side. Tso made it into Hookshot Cave out of the that secret rightward exit from Palace of Darkness, and checked Hookshot Cave. Alright, Krithel's not heading to Thieves Town, to the back of Thieves Town like I expected. He's just heading onward. You know, the bottle can easily get him to the back of Thieves Town. Speaking of bottle, Tso now has one. Oh my gosh, I hadn't realized that those two right chests in Paradox Cave, those were the Desert Palace big key and the Thieves Town big key. Wow. And yeah, he's not gonna go back to get those, presumably. You assume that you can always do without a couple of items. So yeah, both of our racers have had opportunities that the other one hasn't. Krithel got Sahasrala's item stash very early on, so doesn't have that yet. So he's lacking the Cane of Samaria, among other things. But Tso has been to the Palace of Darkness, has Cave State big keys. Speaking of Cave State big keys, Krithel's gonna go get himself one, but he's gonna do it by doing Hyrule Castle. But first we gotta check of the Dark Cross. We have a hair small key. That's kind of useful for swamp. We're very unlikely to see the Hera small key spent in Hera. Oh, Krithel's continuing onward to Agus Tower, using that one... Oh, he's got both small keys, even. Though we are very unlikely to see a completion of Agus Tower in No Logic. So is here on the top floor of Thieves Town. I didn't even keep track of how he went in. Did he go in the front? Is he just playing the dungeon normally? Those conveyor belts don't look quite normal, so I assume he got in some other way. So the reason that Krithel is going on this long journey, in addition to collecting a few items, is that this collects the Hyrule Castle Big Key, which is not randomized, and it is one of the Cave State Big Keys. So there it is. So is fighting blind. Letting the door close. Alright. So has defeated blind and collected a pendant. That's not the Thieves Town prize. I don't know which prize that is. But now he gets to go back into Thieves Town and collect the actual Thieves Town prize. That was Desert Palace. He got there from Desert Palace. Okay. So now we know Desert Palace is a pendant. Desert Palace is also not complete because it wouldn't be marked complete until, well, also it doesn't matter. It's a pendant. If it were a crystal, it would be important for him to go beat the boss of Desert. But it's a pendant, so it doesn't matter. Krithel is finally in the Palace of Darkness, and collecting his first sword. And we can see if he happens to open the chests in an order that sets up for duping that second sword. Because it would still be great to have a tempered sword. And so runs back to the boss room of Thieves Town, and this time collects the Thieves Crystal. That is 2 crystals for Tso. I hadn't seen that rando dialogue before. You've opened 2 of the chests, 14 to go. Krithel does the hammer yump to discover the Palace of Darkness big key in the Palace of Darkness big chest. And then there's the ice big key. So yeah, Krithel has now seen one reason that Cave State big keys have been eluding him. So doing just 3 digs to open up, or to get that heart piece. And finding that sword. So yeah, is Krithel in go mode? Alright, yeah, I think the big problem right now could be Misery Mire. Misery Mire is locked by the Quake Medallion. So in order to collect a Misery Mire prize, Krithel would need to convince the game that he's in Misery Mire without going in its front door. And that would be done with something called Dungeon ID swapping. Pretty sure it could be done the traditional way, by deleting the throne door from Tower of Hera, and then clipping into... I guess he needs another bottle for the whole traditional plan to work out. Also, that plan is really slow. The trick is if you walk through the door behind the throne in Hyrule Castle, Hyrule Castle and the sewer are actually different dungeon IDs, so it flips a bit in the dungeon ID to make that happen. If you're not actually in Hyrule Castle when you do that, it flips the dungeon ID to something else. You can flip Palace of Darkness to Misery Mire. Alright. Krithel collects a full bottle from Helmasaur, which is possibly even more exciting than collecting the crystal from Helmasaur, because it sounds like Krithel might be in go mode. Eastern Palace can be opened using Cave State Stairmaster or using the Canis Samaria. He doesn't know yet that Desert Palace isn't required, but a spin YBA would get to the boss. Tower of Hera can be accessed with a YBA from Palace of Darkness. Speaking of Eastern Palace, Krithel's in Eastern Palace. And so is So. So has done a fun screen wrap. Green's wrapped so much, I don't even know where he's going, but I think this takes him to the big key chest. Yeah. That was a fun route. The one thing I'm not seeing in the Go mode form. Oh! Krithel is opening the 1,000-year door. Using the Cane of Samaria deep inside that door. Gotta make sure to touch the door first. We're referring to the 1,000-year door here because if you don't have the right setup for it, that involves touching the big key door and getting that message, you will end up freezing your game for 18 minutes when you do this. But Krithel does not freeze the game for 18 minutes and forces open that big key door. Meanwhile, Tso just opens the door with the key and walks through it. Bonk. Unexpected third skeleton showed up for Krithel. Tso is heading towards the end of the dungeon. The King of Samaria also reclosed that chest, but it didn't matter. So silver arrows make quick work of the Armos Knights. Tso's collecting his third crystal. We're talking about how Krithel is in Go mode, but this is still a race. And Krithel's Go mode is really inconvenient, and I know that I don't see the complete plan for Swamp Palace. I believe that there is one, because there's all kinds of things you can do to finish Swamp Palace, but I have no idea right now. Lamp was in the sewer secret room. Speaking of that, Tso has finally gone to Sahashila's closet and collected the glove and the Cane of Samaria and Bombos. Alright, Krithel is heading into this passage because there's a YBA from here to Cave State Thieves Town. Tso is not yet using that glove to head into the grave. So he's not going to have a lamp yet. Instead, he's wrapping the screen. Swamp is a pendant. Oh. Alright. Tso is setting up for... Never mind. Alright, this is a Death Mountain skydive. Heading down to the South Dark World. Krithel is here in Cave State Thieves Town. He has to do the upstairs and crack the floor, He didn't do this when he was in Desert Palace. So yeah, I think the main thing we've got going on in terms of Go mode here is Krithel's got everything he needs, but his plan for how to complete Misery Mire is at this point going to be slow and awkward. So seeing that duplicate ice rod, and sees the Quake requirement for Misery Mire. Alright. Krithel is bringing Blind to the boss room, and he's probably going to want to keep that door open using the LSD blind glitch. If you press select as the fight starts, just like that. That was neat how it did just the spotlight effect and not the color cycling effect. I haven't seen that before. But just distract the game so it doesn't remember to close the door. Alright. Blind is defeated. Drops the glitch compass that is the cave state prize. Don't pick it up. And heads out the door of Thieves Town so we can head back in. Oh, maybe not. Ah. Doing a map check, finding out that Swamp is a pendant, then heading back in. And that mirror from the Dark World to the Dark World is because he was mirroring from the fake Dark World to the real Dark World. As he stepped out the door, he was in the Light World, technically, because he had gone in when he was in the Light World. So he was on the Village of Outcasts tile, but any screen transition would have taken him to the Light World, and the map would have been of the Light World. But mirroring first fixed that. And there is the Thieves Town Crystal. Our racers are now at 3 crystals each. So is exploring Skullwoods and is setting up a Samaria transition corruption in this door. Was that setting up for a dupe? I guess so. Krithel is also in Skullwoods and is heading to the back of it. So was So just duping an item blind, hoping for it to be something good? I haven't exactly been following what was going on there, but So reset the game. Krithel just uses the copious number of Skullwood small keys to head to the end of the dungeon. Okay, just a faster way to get to that big chest. Yep, so doesn't have a fire source of any kind. Fire rod is in the lava chest of Turtle Rock. Krithel is collecting a fourth crystal. So is stuck in a state where he is holding an item. I forget how you get out of this. Okay. Like that. So it's doing another Dark World, Death Mountain Descent, another skydive, in fact. Krithel is heading back to the Palace of Darkness for something. Is Krithel coming back to dupe a sword? So apparently had to try again on the skydive. Oh! Oh! Krithel is here to get into the Tower of Hera. YBA from Palace of Darkness to the Tower of Hera. With no hookshot and no Tower of Hera big key. This is how you get upstairs. Oh, look! That's the Mire medallion. Now Krithel doesn't have to have a miserable time getting into Mire. And Krithel can use this Palace of Darkness big key now to open the Hera big door. Thinking that he could walk out the door, but there's no crystal switches left, so he can't. Yeah, so that was a Yuzuhara's Bottle Adventure, or YBA. When you drink a potion of a particular color, while going through a screen transition, you can corrupt where screen transitions on that tile go. And Krithel used that to actually corrupt the room data for that room that he was in Palace of Darkness, so that falling was no longer just a damage thing, it would take him somewhere. Every tile has a destination to where you go when you fall, even if that's not supposed to make sense. And in that tile, the destination was falling into the top of the Tower of Hera. Anyway, Krithel is reascending the Tower of Hera to go beat the boss. Alright, that's a 5th crystal for Krithel. Krithel has completed Skullwoods and Tower of Hera now. He needs Ice Palace and Misery Mire. Misery Mire is still going to require some trickery, because he doesn't have the Misery Mire big key. But there are ways of getting to the boss, such as a YBA from Castle Tower, though it's a particularly messy one. Tso has YBA'd into Ice Palace. When you do that, you end up in Carpet Palace. It hasn't loaded the sliding tiles yet. but it does it when you do... It loads the correct tiles when you take stairs. So it just goes and collects that key, but also is going to do the clip that we just saw krithel do to get down to the lower floor, thus ending up with an extra Ice Palace key. And krithel's doing Icebreaker to get to the right here. So right behind him, krithel knows that he's in go mode so much he's not even checking that chest. It was a heart piece. krithel realizes that he's out of keys. Bit of a setback. Now he has to go collect this key and just do what So did. So finds the big key of Mire, which is going to be very useful, and I bet krithel is not going to collect it. But So is already at the bottom of Ice Palace. And, of course, neither of our runners has the hammer, so to get to the boss room, you've got to do a YBA in this door. Either a red or a blue potion will do it here. Blue potion I understand to be safer. So missed the timing, but in the way that's okay, where you can just try again. That's krithel missing out on the Misery Mire big key. Alright. So drinks the potion and goes through the... Oh, no. Nope, that was just a pause buffer. I thought that was the message box coming up from the successful blue YBA, but it was not. So I was going to try again. Meanwhile, krithel's in the same place. krithel has caught up in this miniature Ice Palace speedrun, though krithel is ahead in the actual run. There it is. So does the YBA, and does the Tam Slam to ensure that he falls in the hole, and enters the cold stair fight. krithel's making another attempt at the YBA. I'm a little surprised at krithel skipping all these chests. It means he's heading directly for a Ganon fight with the Master Sword and no silvers. Anyway, oh, great cold stair fight for krithel, both finishing the fight at about the same time. And that is crystal number 6 for krithel. So now krithel needs to complete Misery Mire. And one plan that I know is you can clip from Misery Mire into Tower of Hera to collect the prize, and you can do the messy YBA from Castle Tower to the Vitreous room to defeat Vitreous. I'm going to bet that there's a better plan than that one, and that we might see it. But here's the flight to Misery Mire. So is back in the Palace of Darkness, presumably to also do that YBA to the Tower of Hera. Okay, Krithel's got the better plan, which is the double YBA, where first you YBA into the castle tower, and then you YBA out of it. This is going to be a green spin YBA. And I think that might even be the one that doesn't corrupt the graphics. Here we are. Pretty nice to be able to see what you're doing during this fight. And because he came from Misery Mire, the correct tile set is loaded. So this is all kinds of better than the plan that I was describing. Oh! Krithel getting chased down by Vitreous a little bit there, but then finishes the fight. That's going to be crystal number 7 for Krithel. So now Krithel just needs to get to Aghanim 2. There's various ways to do that. One popular one being the Turtle Rock Lava Dive. There's also quadrant glitches and Samaria glitches in Turtle Rock that get you there. Alright. Krithel crossing the land bridge over to East Death Mountain, heading into Turtle Rock. This is the easiest overworld clip in the game. If you ever play multi-worlds or something, learning that clip can be fun and satisfying for making progress when you wouldn't otherwise. Krithel's doing a Samaria transition corruption to get to Aga 2. Didn't quite get it right there. There it is. And falls into the lava. And under the lava is Aghanim 2. Resplendent in rainbow colors. And Krithel's heading into the Ganon fight. Master Sword, Silverless Ganon. Getting into that circle of bats, in a position to just keep sword spinning. And then capes and grabs the wall to dodge all the bats. So is exploring Misery Mire. Still looking for any kind of fire. To refresh, the lamp was in the castle escape, and the fire rod was in the lava chest of Turtle Rock. So finds a book. Krithel's on phase 3. No, phase 4. We're doing all the spins. Nope. Missed the timing for Silverless on that one. Setting up for a triple. Getting 3 hits on Ganon with 1 torchlight. There we go. And gets the timing for the next second triple in a row. That one's just going to be a double. And that is the last sword spin on Ganon. As So goes and fights Vitreous. GG to Krithel, winning this race, clearing the game in 1 hour 12 minutes, 46 seconds. So is collecting his 6th crystal. But he's going to need a fire rod at some point. Looks like Tso's going to keep going. He said GG to Krithel and lamented that he doesn't have a fire source. And, okay, at this point, Tso has forfeited the race. We're about to see it on the stream, because Tso finally goes to the sewer secret room and finds the lamp that he's been missing all game, and makes some angry slashes at that chest. We're about to be joined by Krithel. Hey, Krithel. Congratulations and GG.
Hello, thank you. GG.
That was a fun race.
It was. That was a fun seed.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that you were in Oh No Go mode when you collected your second sword, but that you were very glad to see the Quake medallion, right?
Yup, pretty much exactly. Yeah, I was kind of going around the houses because I knew if I could find a tree warpable sword, that'd be go mode. So I did every easy check I could do that was tree warpable before diving into pod, and then pod seemed like a pretty sensible.
Yeah.
Eastern was obviously a doable crystal, but it's a pain to get through, and if I can mirror anyway, why not do it from pod?
That's cool. I do enjoy tree warps to dupe a sword, and I'm glad that you were going for that.
Yeah, it was definitely the main plan. Yeah, the early game, just getting so much early game.
Yeah. You, for one thing, got Sahasrah's secret stash much earlier than so.
Yes, I was just talking to him, and Saha really made that early game. Getting all that stuff made it very smooth, and then having mitts later on, having lamp. I mean, we must have been playing different games.
Yeah, one slight advantage that Tso had early on was finishing Paradox Cave, not dying to the mini Moldorms, and collecting the Thieves' Town Big Key and the Desert Big Key there.
Thieves' Town Big is sad because that would have been really good to have. Desert would have probably cost me a bit of time more than anything because I'd have done Desert.
I can see that.
But yeah. That's fine. I bought the heart from the shop because I just knew going up there I was gonna wreck myself, and I did. The heart didn't matter. The extra heart didn't matter.
Let's see. Trying to remember other fun routing that happened this run. Do you remember anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I was sitting there trying to work out, once I got the Moon Pearl, how I wanted to route in Kakariko, because ideally then, I knew immediately I wanted to do a death warp in Thieves' Town to set up my light world and do Kak, but I could never quite work out a good route, and I definitely didn't find the right one. I'm pretty sure, because I got mitts just before I think I went to Dark World, so I should have fluted there? To Maya, maybe? I don't know. But it all got a bit weird. But we got there, and we got to Kakariko in the end. And then, of course, Mira being in Thieves' Town when I skipped it because I was planning on doing the Death Warp, and it's the way it goes.
Yeah, and then once you had that Quake, you were just in hard go mode to the end of the game.
Yeah, Quake speeds things up. It's like interesting, the decisions at the end there. I was trying to work out, did I want to do Desert, Ice, or Hera? I think it was between going straight to Ice and just getting items in there, and then probably doing Hera. But when I realized I needed to open up Hera regardless to dupe Maya, I might as well just do Hera first. I had a red potion as well in my bowls, so I just needed to dump that to get 2 blues for Ice. So it just made sense to go do the pod to Hera, open it up, because I'll need to do that for the Maya dupe. Always nice when you then find the thing that invalidates the Maya dupe. Even better.
Yeah. So because that was not knowing that Desert was the last pendant, right?
Yeah, not knowing whether Desert, because I had 4 dungeons: Desert, Hera, Swamp, and Skull, and 2 pendants between them. And gradually I worked out, obviously Swamp was a pendant, and then Skull I just blind checked and got a crystal. So it was 50-50 between the 2, and I was always going to need to... Well, yeah, unless I'd found Quake, I was always going to need to open Hera, so it just made sense to use the potion I already had to do that.
Hello, Tso.
Hello, GG.
Hello, GG.
GG. That was a fun race.
Yeah, Sid was pretty neat, but that Samaria on Sa has made all the difference in the
Uh-huh.
race. Since when
Yeah.
I went to DDM, I had only one key from TR and nothing else, so it didn't make much sense for me to go for it. Even me that like doing TR pretty early after Hookshot Cave, but I didn't want to mess around the keys with lava chest plus only getting the chain chomps. It
Mhm.
was too
Yeah.
much time to game on those
Yeah.
two checks, but
Yeah.
Pyroth was there. So unfortunately for me, I never found the other one.
Yeah, it
So
makes sense. Krithel found Sahasrah's secret stash much earlier, and everything kind of spiraled from there. You
yeah.
did have the early lead in crystals,
Yeah,
and
I usually prioritize beating dungeons, even though I don't know much about the information. I just like
mhm.
to beat dungeons since I have to beat dungeons.
Yeah, and
And
you had a couple items helping you beat dungeons that Krithel actually missed out on because Krithel died in Paradox Cave. So you had the Thieves Town Big Key, so you had a Cave State Big Key, and also the Desert Big Key.
yeah, that worked out for me to route smoothly the knowledge of desert plus the Thieves Town and all my loop to Hype Cave, that kind of stuff really
Mhm.
helped me a lot. But when I was only the fire source and the solution for schools, I knew that because of some of my mistakes on the early trying to get to ice, it cost me a lot of time. So the only chance I had was to have both five rods in really bad locations.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it was going to be because we didn't need fire on this seed, except I assume you never found a hook shot, so
Yeah.
getting back a skull is yeah, fire rod's definitely the easiest way.
Yeah. Well, GG to you both. Remind me when the next run is.
Tomorrow at
Tomorrow,
the
same
same
time.
time.
All
Yeah.
right, game 2 tomorrow at the same time. Looking forward to it. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you both for joining. Thank you to SpeedGaming, and thank you to Mr.
Bye.